Welcome to Yury Experience, and today I want to talk to you about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression is something that is completely normal and is a human right for many countries. Not for all of them, and that's not okay, but that's not the topic of today's video. Anyway, freedom of speech. It is slightly different depending on the country, not because what it means, but because what are the restrictions. But again, I will make an independent video about that because today I read even more about the topic and understood that I don't have enough knowledge. But to be honest, I didn't want to cover the differences between freedoms of speeches and freedoms of expressions in different countries anyway, at least not today. In some video I think I will do it. But what I did want to talk about is about how this freedom of speech and freedom of expression influences our life and how it is actually work in everyday life for most of people and not only for really famous people or politicians, and why freedom of speech doesn't mean freedom of responsibility for your words. Yeah, that's the topic for today's video. Before we start, short summary, this is a channel where I'm talking about my different experiences with different countries, with different cultures, with different topics, social topics, self-development and whatnot. I do videos 2 times a week, Monday, Thursday. If you like this video, please subscribe or please push a like, it will help the channel, thank you a lot. That's all with ads. Anyway, let's go for original topic. Freedom of speech means that you can say pretty much anything you want without having a fear of any legal actions or any restrictions towards you from any authorities. Freedom of expression is often used as something synonymical, but it's rather being allowed to search for any type of information without any restrictions. Basically, it is these are the definitions. The legal definitions I will also put somewhere, but that doesn't work completely like that. There are restrictions and each and every country has some restrictions, even USA. I didn't know that prior to today too, but even USA has some restrictions to what is allowed to say and what is allowed to express, what is allowed to look for. But that is not the topic again for today's video. I just wanted to provide you definitions because definitions are important. The topic of today's video is the fact that only because you can say whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, in theory at least, it doesn't mean that you don't carry the responsibility for your words. On a legal level, on political level, on society level, maybe government will not punish you for any your words, but society is completely and fully allowed to do so. There are no restrictions in that way. Basically, society and each individual of society can tell you anything, can do anything to you based on your words. Let's make a couple of examples. You can say in the face of, for example, a vegetarian person, I hate you because you eat only vegetables. And that person is allowed to tell you, I hate you because you have that opinion. And you are not allowed. So there's no legal things that will punish the vegetarian person, because that person does also have a right to express that person's opinion. And what is more important, by that reaction, that person didn't restrict your freedom of speech. That person listened to your opinion and said, I don't like it. And that's completely normal and it is legal. I would say, even I would go even there. It is completely legal for that person to say, I don't like that opinion. And even to say maybe, please don't say that opinion to other vegetarians. It's not even a restriction. Like restriction, I would understand, and maybe I'm wrong there. That is more of a legal thing, where people would throw you into jail, or like police will come and hit you, I don't know. But is this human-to-human interaction is different. It is not forbidden to react somehow. Another example, you go to a person and that person is bald. That person doesn't have any hair here. And you say to that person in the face, all bald people are, I don't know, assholes. for example, and that person is, I don't know, has a bad day and whatnot, and decided to hit you, and that person does hit you, and you feel bad, and you go and call for police, and maybe you are even allowed to do that. I'm not sure what are the restrictions in that case, but what the person did was a personal reaction to your words. It wasn't a restriction for your freedom of speech. It wasn't the restriction for the words that you did. So basically, that person didn't attack your freedom of speech. That person attacked you for your opinion. And that is a way of that person's expression of doing things. It is a wrong thing to do, to hit other people, and it is not legally okay based on my experience and knowledge. But that person will not be punished for a restriction of your freedom of speech. That person will be punished for hitting you. That's the difference. That is the reason why I'm telling you to carry responsibility for your words. Because basically on human to human level, there are no restriction to what other person or how that other person can react to your words, at least in terms of freedom of speech. That person can tell you your opinion is BS, your opinion is bad, your opinion is wrong, you shall not express that opinion at all, and it will be completely legal. It is not restriction of your freedom of speech. It will be maybe saying that you are a bad person, or like maybe, I don't know, that your opinion is maybe bad, maybe that person is bad, you don't know. But that person doesn't restrict your freedom of speech by saying you that your opinion is bad. That person is just expressing that person's opinion, and that person has a full right to it. And the fact is, when many people have same opinion as that person, then that is the moment when we come to this idea of cancel culture, which I don't really like, and I will cover in an independent video. But when many people disagree with you, they start to, like, they can ignore you, they can have like the whole movement based on disagreeing with your opinion. That is how a lot of tolerant movements exist and appear, or racist movements appear. Because a group of people disagrees with other group of people, and both groups of these people are allowed to have their opinion and allowed to express their opinion, at least as long as it doesn't go against restrictions of the law. Like, law does have restrictions on some freedoms of expression and of speech. But overall, both groups are allowed to carry out their opinions, and that is completely rightfully so. And they can discuss with each other and say, you are a bad person, no, you are a bad person, all the time, and it is completely legal. Another quick example, hate speech. Hate speech does exist. It is a speech or opinion that is targeted towards discrimination or like degradation of some specific group of people based on different background, racial, ethical, religious, nationality background and whatnot. It doesn't matter. It does, but it doesn't. And it is a great question whether hate speech is considered and is secured by freedom of speech or not. And basically, at least in my understanding, it is a completely gray zone. First, hate speech is subjective. It depends on the person who listens, it depends on the person who says, and how and where and at what time and what action. It is really difficult to grasp this concept. When does hate speech start? And that is maybe a topic for a different video. But then if we are going into the legality, at least in my understanding, it is okay it is legal to express that kind of opinion. But on the other hand, at least in most of the countries, a person of that specific group, whom this opinion is targeted upon, has legal right to not be discriminated against. And there is a question whether this hate speech can be rephrased as a discrimination towards this group, towards this specific person. For example, people, at least in my understanding, for example, you are from LGBTQ community plus and so on. If you are from that community, it doesn't matter what your sexuality is, it is stated by law that you shall not be discriminated upon based on your sexuality. But then we have a homophobic person, and that homophobic person says something homophobic, and it is a homophobic situation also. There are different situations where a homophobic phrase wouldn't be homophobic, different topic. And that person does say something homophobic. That person is allowed to say it, but by saying that person discriminates another person. And that is where it becomes complicated, and where I don't know anymore what is legal, what is right. I mean, what is right, that is anyway a personal decision, but I'm not sure what is legal there anymore. And I think the answer would be even different for different countries. Yeah. The target of this video is to ask you to carry the responsibility for your words. Your words and your actions are something that describe you. And it doesn't, actually, in my personal opinion, it doesn't matter that the legality of this matter exists. Your words are your responsibility. I already did a couple of videos about weight of words. There are a lot of words that have a lot of weight, that are heavy. And if you are not ready to carry responsibility for these words, maybe you shall not say these words. For example, like I gave an example during that video about N-word. N-word is a really heavy word for most of social groups, which is why maybe you are not, you shall not carry the responsibility for that word if you don't want to do it. And from legality matter, only because freedom of speech saves you in terms of legality, in terms of countries cannot restrict most of your opinions, it doesn't mean that social groups cannot do that either. It doesn't mean that society cannot do that either. It doesn't mean that another person cannot do that either. Cancel culture exists, and I don't like it, but sometimes it does something good. It is a different topic. Anyway, it is something that society can do, where it can avoid going legal, but still can make life of a person more difficult. And if you don't want to have your life more difficult, say only something that you mean to say. Think about your opinions, base them upon some good facts, educate yourself. Yeah, that's what I'm talking on this channel. But that's a topic for a different video. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and I see you on Thursday.